Hi guys, this is Dr. Kubin again. I told you that I was going to do another video showing you how to get some publishing information, or not publishing, referencing information on Healthy People 2020, which is a government website that you're going to be using quite a bit for this course. And I also want to show you kind of how to apply this information when you're actually documenting your references and your citations. And so I want to start out by showing you this is the Healthy People 2020 website. This is their homepage, and it can get a little bit confusing when you're looking for referencing information. So, particularly when it comes to author, because Healthy People 2020 is a federal government website that basically is it comes from the Office of U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Do you see this right down here? But the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is like a big, huge umbrella. And underneath them, there are lots of little smaller departments. And so, as you can see on here, see the ODPHP, and you'll see this up here at the top too. Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. So people often have questions, who exactly is the author. So you also see here healthypeople.gov and Healthy People 2020. So Healthy People 2020 is an initiative. It is it's not an author, it's not a department, so it's not going to be your author when you're doing your referencing and your citation. It's going to be, what you're looking at is going to be up here, ODPHP, or the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And what people get tripped up on is, how do you know which? So I want to just point to you, I'm going to move this down just a little bit so you can see the whole page. I want to point to you about how do you know what you use. And most of the time when you're dealing with this government entity, you're going to be using the big umbrella of U.S. Health and Human Services, but also then you're going to also use the smaller subdivision. But if you go over here to the About page, it's going to tell you, see right here where it says FAQs? It tells you right here, how do I cite Healthy People 2020? And it tells you right here, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. So that's how you know who the author is. I want to show you another site just quickly just so that you can see how this works. This is the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. See here, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, NIH, National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. So which one of those do you use when you're citing? Same thing here. You've got your big umbrella, a smaller department, and an even smaller department. And so when you go to this About page, Contact and FAQs, if you go to their website, Privacy and Accessibility, so almost all of these websites are going to have this kind of a site for you to go to. No, it's not there. Sorry, go down here to Copyright and Usage. And it'll show you, here's how you use this, here's how they want you to cite it. So National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, National Institutes of Health, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So I just want to point that out to you so that you can see how you're supposed to cite these websites. Healthy People, I told you, is going to be a site that you are going to be using a lot for this course. So I wanted to make sure that you knew how to reference this page. The other thing I'm going to point out to you is down here is the date. So remember I showed you, let me move my screen down a little bit. We're not going to use the copyright according to APA. We're going to use the last updated. So here's your last updated. So we're going to use a 2018 date. So I'm going to show you how to apply this when you're actually writing your papers. This Leading Health Indicators page, you'll use this a lot. when you're doing work for this course. So let's just say that we wanted to talk about the Healthy People 2020 contains 42 topic areas with more than 1,200 objectives. Let's say that we want to put this in our paper. And we're going to copy and paste that. We want to use that exact wording. So let's just paste this into our paper, okay? And that is going to be U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, comma, Office of, what's it called? And Disease Prevention, sorry. Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion 2018, right? And then we need to go down here and we need to make a reference page. So we're going to do that. And our references is going to be, you know what, I'm going to copy this from up here. Now you could also hang on, I'll show you how to abbreviate that in 1 second. Now the title of that page is Leading Health Indicators. And notice that I'm only capitalizing the first word of my title, Leading Health Indicators, and this is retrieved from, and I'm going to just come over here and I'm going to copy my web page and I'm going to paste it right there. And then this needs to be a hanging indent. Okay, now if I wanted to, let's say that I don't want to type this out every time I do this. So if I want to abbreviate this, I'm going to use the brackets inside here and I'm going to say US DHHS ODPHP. And you can abbreviate that any way that you want to. It's your paper, so you can abbreviate however you want to. Now let's say that I want to come over here and look up more information about access to health services. And I want to talk about, see where it says almost 1 in 4 Americans do not have a primary care provider. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I'll do that and then I'll show you this. All right, so according to US DHHS ODPHP, 25% of people in America do not have a primary care provider, and that's pretty close to being a direct quote, but I'm going to not treat it as a direct quote. But this one up here where it's a direct quote, because it's a direct quote, I have to put a page number, or since I'm getting it off of a website, I have to put a paragraph number. So this came from the first paragraph. So over here, after my date, I need to put paragraph 1. Okay. Now, down here, I need to put, I'm going to copy all this. And I'm going to paste it. And this one came from my page here is access to health services. I have to fix that. Sorry, I can't stand that. Okay, and that came from this web page here. And remember that this is going to have a different web page because it's a different URL. And so I have to use the exact URL that it came from. All right, now APA is kind of persnickety here because I have two references from the same author, right, and the same date. So how do we know which one of these came from which reference, right? How do I know that this one about the 25% of people in America not having a primary care provider, how do I know that that came from the access to care page and that this other one came from the leading health indicators page? So the way that you're going to indicate that is going to be with a small letter following your date. So the leading health indicators, first of all, this is not in alphabetical order, and my reference list always has to be in alphabetical order. So I'm going to move this up here because that's the one that needs to go first. Okay, and then so this one, the access to health services, because it's first in my reference list, that's going to be A, and then this one's going to be B, the leading health indicators. So up here in my citations, because this came from that leading health indicators, this is 2018 B, and this one came from the access to healthcare page. This is A, and it doesn't matter where it falls in my actual paper. The lettering depends on where it falls in my reference page. So I hope that that helps you. I know that this can be a little bit confusing. As always, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask us questions, contact us and just ask us questions about that, or send us an email, and say, this is what I think the reference is. Can you let me know if I'm on the right track, or what am I doing wrong, or whatever. We're happy to help with that. I know that it's confusing, and sometimes we get confused as well. So we know that if we're confused, we expect that you're going to be confused as well. So I hope that that helps, and good luck, you guys.